Please join me in welcoming Earvin Magic Johnson. But I did first of all want to ask you whether you miss playing basketball in front of millions of people and just the thrill of it. Is it something you think about a lot still?
No, not at all. I don't think about it one day. I enjoy business, and I moved on to my new life, which is business. But I'm still a part of the game. I'm still part owner of the Lakers, and so I get my basketball fix from that. And then I used to be on TNT, but this year I'll be on ESPN broadcasting the game, so I enjoy that as well. But only way I would miss basketball if I could come back one day and play against Michael and Larry in the same day, and it could be over with.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. My parents instilled a lot of value into us, and they wanted all of us to go to college, and I was the first one to go to college in my family, so then everybody else followed after me. So that was really something that I was happy about, especially all my sisters. My brothers followed my father into General Motors for 30 years. So we were just a blue-collar family, grew up poor.
So when you entered high school, I gathered that was particularly difficult or traumatic because you were planning to go to a particular high school, but forced busing had been introduced, and you were in a group that had to be bused to an all-white high school. What was your reaction to that, and how did the kids there respond to you? Obviously, you came onto the team, you were a great player, but did they respond positively or not?
Well, it was a very, very trying time, and the high school I wanted to go to was only a 10-minute walk, and I had been going to those games most of my life, so I was waiting for my opportunity to play for Sexton High School.
It was a good team, right?
A very good team. Very strong in basketball in the state of Michigan, so they would always battle for the championship, and so I wanted to be a part of that, and thought I would be a part of that. A letter came a week before we were supposed to go to school. And would you believe that the cutoff line was our street? So everybody on that side of the street had to go to Everett and vice versa. The other side would go to Sexton, and I was just devastated. I tried to cheat in terms of I'm going to live with somebody else, and that didn't work. And so I ended up going to Everett, and the first day, I would say the first week, there was race riots going on, and they didn't accept us well, and of course we didn't want to be there, so it was a tough situation on both sides. And we went through this for about a month or so, and then basketball tryouts started, and I was able to, of course, make the team, and we were in our first practices. And some of the seniors started freezing me out. I was open like 5 times. I'm open. They wouldn't pass it to me. So they kept passing it to each other. So finally, since I was the tallest guy on the team, I said, okay, I'll just grab every rebound and I'll take it down myself. So I started doing that and, shooting and scoring and sometimes missing. And so the guy got the ball and slammed it down and told me that, you're a young sophomore, and when we say throw us the ball, you should throw us the ball. And I said, well, I was saying throw me the ball earlier, and you didn't throw it to me. So the coach come running out, and because now both groups are moving toward each other like it's going to be a fight. And he said, hey, we're not going to have this. I said, look, coach, I didn't want to come here anyway. And long story short, we worked it out. And what happened was, this is the beautiful thing about sports. Basketball and that team brought the school together. And to this day, I'm so happy that I went to Everett because I learned a lot of life lessons and how to work with people of other colors. And because life is like that, corporations are like that. So it ended up being great because we still won the state championship. I have some wonderful friends from different races, And it was just a wonderful experience after that. So it worked out for everybody. Yeah. I approached Sony about building theaters in the urban communities because at that time, minorities made up over 35% of all the moviegoers, but there were none in our community. And so Peter Gruber at that time was running Sony, and he said, okay, let's do it. Mm-hmm. You put up half the money, I put up half, and we'll go do it. And so it's been just wonderful. And then I built 5 other ones, so one here in Harlem, so the Magic Johnson Theaters. And then I went up to Seattle and approached Howard Schultz about Starbucks. And I told him the growth of his business was going to have to be through urban America because he had no stores at that time in urban America. And he said, okay, let me come down, see your operation, see how you manage your theaters. And he came down, and thank God a big woman's movie was coming out on that Friday that he came down, and called Waiting to Exhale with Whitney Houston. And I tried to forewarn him that minorities, we go to the movies a little different than everybody else. So when he got to the theater, there was about 5,000 African-American women wrapped around the corner, and every show was sold out. Yeah. So he got into the theater, and I tried to warn him, but as soon as he got inside the movie theater, every woman was talking to Whitney Houston on the screen, telling her to dump that guy. Why are you still with him? Like they knew her personally. Right, yeah. And so about 20 minutes into the movie, he turned to me and said, Magic, I never had a movie-going experience quite like this. And actually, that got me the deal. Yeah. And so we had 119 Starbucks, and our per caps are $4.68 a person. His per caps are $4.62 a person. So my per caps are better than his per caps.
Well, he must have been concerned in the beginning that this was premium coffee, that African Americans in poor communities weren't going to buy that, right?
Oh yes, because, $4 a cup of coffee. Everybody thought minorities would never pay $4. But we proved them wrong. We'll pay $4 for a cup of coffee. We just don't eat scones. We don't quite know. So, we don't know what scones are. So I had to take the scones out and put in Sakatumi cake, pound cake, sweet potato pie, things that minorities like and my customers like. And then we had to change the elevator music. Lawrence Welk wasn't quite hitting it for us. And so I had to put in some Smokey, some Temptations, things that resonate with my customer base and consumers. That's why my per caps are so high, that I make sure my business is always about the customer.
And you're the only person who owns Starbucks other than Starbucks,
there's no franchisee.
Yeah, right.
They don't franchise. I am the only one.
I did want to ask you about one of the best stories that I read in the book that involved South Central and gangs. Talk to us about the conversation you had with gang leaders and what came out of that and why you did that.
My first theater was right in the middle of the gang territory. So one side was the Crips, and the other side of the street was the Bloods. And so I knew it was going to be trouble if I didn't talk to them. So I arranged a meeting to have breakfast with both heads of both gangs. And so we went to this restaurant, and I'm scared to death, but I know I have to do this for the safety of my customers. So we sat down, and I said, look, I'm here because I'm building this theater, and I don't want any violence to happen inside or outside of this theater because we're going to have a lot of kids coming in. And if you come in and create violence, maybe your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your kids will be inside, and somebody maybe get hurt. And so they said, you make a good point. They said, we won't do anything. We'll agree to that. But can you give a couple of us jobs? Mm-hmm. And I said, I can do that. So we asked the construction company to hire 10 each from both sides. Do you know today that on both sides, 7 guys have stayed on and still have jobs today? Wow. And they are skilled tradesmen right now today because of that situation. So I'm so proud of that. And they changed their whole life around. Yeah.
The last question to 8-year-old Ian. Which is more fun, playing basketball or building businesses?
All right, where's Ian at? I got to see Ian. Where's Ian? Come here, Ian. Come here. Come here. I want to meet you. 8 years old, asking a great question like that. Now, what was this question again? I had to meet Ian.
Which do you like more, playing basketball or building businesses?
Ian, they will always be great or good basketball players. But when you can put people to work, and when you can build up communities and bring pride to those communities, long after I'm dead and gone, that's what I want people to remember me by. Not playing basketball, but for the work that I've done in those communities. When we build our technology centers in Harlem, grades are up 70% with those kids. That's what I'm talking about, affecting people's lives in a positive way. So when you become that great businessman, because I know you got it, I want you to also think about, how can I help the world become a better place too? And we have to not just be about making money. We also got to touch the world in a positive way and give back to people who are less fortunate than ourselves. And so the dollar in the urban community only touches 3 hands, because most of the time we don't own the businesses in our community. In suburban America, it touched over 15 hands. Now we're starting to see the dollar touch more hands because we're becoming more business savvy, and we're starting to own businesses in our own community. And that's what we've been able to create in urban America, and I'm happy about that. May I say, God bless you all. Thank you for coming tonight. I hope I see both of you when we sign the books, okay? Thank you for having me.